Hi, good morning everybody. Welcome to video 1 of the Science Behind the Spiritual Woo Heart Health Edition. So you may or may not realize this or have known this, but February is Heart Month. Not just because of, February 14th, Valentine's Day, but specifically because the American Heart Association has decided that this is a good month for us to think about our heart health. So I was all inspired by this and I was like, okay, let's dive a little bit deeper. Let's talk about heart health for sure from the perspective of the muscle, like the lub-dub in the left side of your chest, but also from the energetic perspective of what it means to connect to our heart center or emotional space. So I thought it would be really interesting and fun to dive into a little bit of the science behind the spiritual woo-woo, if you will, so that we can really deepen our understanding. Hi, thanks for being here. Let me know, drop a little heart in the comments when you're here. And so we're going to talk about the science behind the woo, of why it's important to keep our heart healthy, specifically in relation to all of the chronic sitting and, let's be honest, slouching that we all pretty much do a lot of the day. And, I'm not innocent myself, I'm sitting down right now. But really looking at the impact of heart health when it comes to our workplace setting or when we sit. And so we all spend, significant portion of our day sitting down. So I thought it'd be interesting for us to dive into a little bit of the science behind what happens to our heart, but also the spiritual woo side of it too, because they're both equally important and I think both equally fascinating, especially when they really overlap. And that's where it gets really cool. So as you're joining, say hello and give me a little heart in the comments or some hearts and just let me know you're here and that you can hear me and that everything's good so far. So hi, and so perfect. So February is Heart Month. So I thought, okay, let's go into this. Let's figure out what Heart Month really means from a yogic perspective, but also from an exercise perspective. So we all spend a lot of our day sitting down, right? And we are typically using some sort of device and, we're kind of in that rounded, slouched over keyboard hunch, if you want to call it. There's other names for it, including collapsed sitting or forward head posture, but we're starting to see an epidemic of postural change because we're using a keyboard so often. So one of the things that happens when we sit for a lot of time is that our circulation starts to slow down. Particularly to your lower body, your circulation starts to slow down. And so that means that you can start to have swelling or pain or discomfort in your legs. So when we sit, our circulation slows down significantly, and that can cause a spike in your blood pressure. So that's very significant for all of us. I mean, we all have a heart, thank goodness. And so that can cause a spike in our blood pressure. It can cause swelling or numbness in our legs. And then it can also, it slows down our ability to burn fat because we can start to have a little bit of fatty acid buildup in our bloodstream, which is also a potential heart issue. So really, really important is that we're aware that when we sit for long periods, anything over an hour, you're setting an alarm to get up. So that's part of the science of why it's important to get more movement into your day. And so because our heart is actually kind of cool, side note fact, your heart is actually your first organ to develop. It develops before your brain and it actually starts beating before your brain starts to form. So that's really cool. And it beats about 70 times a minute. Also really interesting. And it pumps all sorts of nutrients and oxygen throughout your blood throughout the day, right? And it can pump up to 2,000 gallons of blood every day. So that's really, really amazing. So I thought it would be interesting to kind of look at that from the science perspective, but then also from the more spiritual side of, okay, so if our blood circulation is slowing down, and our blood is what carries our oxygen. So oxygen is vital, right? It's vital for our life force. It's vital for our body. It's vital for our brain. And so when we have a slowing down of circulation and there's not as much oxygen or energy that's carried in the blood throughout the body, that's when we can start to have stagnation. So if we have the circulation slowing down and we start to have swelling in the legs, then we can have stagnation in the lower body because the blood carries with it that life force energy of the breath. Whether you consider that life force energy chi or prana or mana or vitality or just simply energy, that's what's carried within the bloodstream. So when we have stagnation in the lower body, we can start to have issues in the lower energy centers, or maybe we have tension in our hips and we have that restriction of movement in our hips, or we start to have issues in the lower energy centers or the chakras, which can be related to anxiety, depression, feelings of heaviness, feelings of worry, feelings of stress. And oh, hi, Catherine, thank you for being here. So we can start to have issues in the lower energy centers. So that's part of the spiritual woo element of that, is that if we have poor circulation in our body when we're sitting, not just from the heart health perspective, but from the emotional heart perspective, we can start to have issues in the lower energy centers. And so that means that the other upper energy centers would also be affected. So when we start to dive into it from the spiritual element, we realize that it's so important that we keep our heart physically healthy so that it's circulating blood. Oh, hi, Tracy. Thanks for being here. Keeping our heart physically healthy so that it's circulating blood. So because of the oxygen and the nutrients from a physical perspective, but from an energetic perspective, it's carrying also that same prana or energy or life force throughout the body at the same time. So we want to have that free flow of energy throughout our whole body constantly. But when we sit, because of the position that we're in, we have kind of a blockage. So if this was your spine, here's your head at the top, and these are your hips right here, we have a blockage right here in the pelvis. And that's when we start to have kind of a difficulty with the movement of the blood flow and the nervous energy through the legs, and that can cause that swelling and slowing down of circulation. So really important from a physical perspective to keep your heart healthy, and also from the spiritual perspective, because we want that free flow of prana or vitality through the body and through the energy centers. So the energy centers we'll kind of get into a little bit more later, but you maybe know them as chakras, or just the vortexes of energy that kind of run along the spine, that are all associated with different organs and different attributes of our personality and our life. And of course, specifically when it comes to the heart center, right in the middle of your chest, is obviously the one that we're going to talk about. But if we have blockages in the lower centers, then there's blockages to the upper centers, specifically to the heart. And so it's kind of really all amazingly interconnected. So we can think about the heart more than just the organ, but also the emotional center. So I think it's really cool to realize, okay, it's so important that I'm getting up and I'm moving and I'm keeping my heart healthy while I'm at work. Not just from the physical side of keeping the musculature of your heart healthy, but really from the emotional side of that evolution of understanding of who we are as people, to keep that free flow of energy and inspiration going. So today is video number 1 of the science behind the spiritual woo of keeping your heart healthy at work. And so for the next few days, so Monday, Wednesday, and Friday of next week, I'm going to be doing 3 more videos. So 10 a.m. Hawaiian Standard Time, which is 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, I believe. I'm going to be doing another video, just a short little video each day in this series of the science behind the spiritual woo. So today we were talking about circulation, and then on Monday we're going to be talking about the breath, because obviously the blood carries the breath, and that's so vital. We're going to talk more about the breath and how it affects us physiologically, so our body, but also energetically, emotionally, spiritually. So that's going to be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday of next week. We're just going to do short little science behind the woo videos, and then actually on the 17th, I'm going to be going deeper. We're going to be looking at really going a lot deeper with all of these things. Keeping our heart healthy and happy at work, why it's important, and how to do it. So I'm going to be doing that as a live training in my Yoga at My Desk tribe. So that'll be the longer, deeper training where we deep dive into all of it, and you're getting lots of tools that you can take with you and apply right away. That will be on the 17th. So I'll put a little schedule in the comments, but that's going to happen in my Yoga at My Desk tribe. So I'd love to have you join for that. Because I think it's really important that you understand how and why it's important to keep your heart healthy and happy. It's really vital, in fact, right? By most standards, the heart is actually our most important muscle. And cool fact that people thought for a long time that it was just your brain sending information to your heart. But now with neurocardiology, so that's the study of our nervous system in relation to our heart, they've realized that our heart actually sends more information up to the brain. And your heart actually has what they're calling a little brain. It has its own nervous system. So science is really just starting to catch up with what the spiritual ancient wisdom cultures have known for a long time. Look, I have crazy goosebumps because I'm just so excited. What the wisdom cultures have known for so long, that it's important for us to be able to tap into the energy and the wisdom of the heart. And so not just from a physical perspective, and of course that's very important, but from that energetic perspective of why we want to know ourselves and our heart center, and why we want to deepen that relationship to our heart, both on the physical perspective and the emotional perspective. So Next week, we got 3 more videos in the Science Behind the Woo series. Oh, you love it. Yay, thank you. So 3 more videos in the Science Behind the Woo series next week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 a.m. Hawaiian time, which is 12 p.m. Pacific. You figure out the rest in your time zone. And we're gonna just dive a little bit deeper. So Monday, we're gonna talk about circulation. And then after that, the Monday following, the 17th, we're going deep. In my Yoga at My Desk tribe, we're going deep for a training. I'm gonna give you all sorts of tools, cool stuff that's scientifically validated. So not just like woo-woo way out there, it's out there, but it's scientifically validated. Haha, that's the best part, right? So let me know if you have any questions, and if you know any sitters that you love, people that sit a lot, or they tend to just slouch, even if they don't have a sitting job, but they have a slouch posture, please tag them in this video. Please send this to them, or just invite them into the tribe. I'm gonna post the links for all that here in a minute. But people need to know about this, because not only because it's Heart Health Month, but because you love them and we want them to have as much energy and heart vitality as they can, right? So important. So sharing the wisdom, sharing the love, and helping all of us kind of nurture that relationship with the heart, because there's so much wisdom in there. So it's really important that we do that on a regular basis. So thanks for being here, everybody that's here. I love it. Do you have any comments? What was your biggest takeaway? Because I know that I kind of flew through that pretty quickly, but did you have a takeaway for that you'd love to share? I would love to hear it. So I just think it's really fascinating, and I'm excited to share these tools because I've always been curious about how science and spirituality can intersect, and now there's so much cool stuff. I have so much cool stuff to share with you about the connection, the frequency between the heart and the brain, and how that connects. Oh yes, the heart having a brain. Isn't that cool? So the heart has its own little brain, and it's just an amazingly intelligent system. Oh, another cool thing is that they realize that it's actually a hormonal gland. Actually, the heart, the physical heart, actually secretes oxytocin, which a long time they thought was only, initiated by the brain. So it's initiated by the heart as well, and actually produced by the heart. So oxytocin is, of course, our hormone of connection and love. So of course it makes sense that it was secreted by the heart as well. My goodness, the body is so intelligent, and I think it's really cool that that we're just really catching up to that understanding. So video 1 today of Science Behind the Spiritual Woo of Heart Health, and come and join me next week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. Hawaiian time, 12 p.m. Pacific, as we're going a little deeper with some few other nuggets, mostly really looking at how we can initiate health and how sitting impacts and can affect our health, and so what we can do to balance that out, and just diving into the effect that it has on our heart, and how we can really empower ourselves with more tools to live, move, and feel their best. So thanks everybody for being here. Please share this video and join me next week, and join me in the Yoga at My Desk tribe as we're gonna go deeper into all of this and help you really, really nurture that relationship with your heart. So important, right? Because that's the wisdom within, and it's important that we tap into that. So have a great rest of your day, and I will see you soon. Take care. Aloha. Bye.